Hello there, Chicago. You're watching Bears News Fan Report. Clean information, real context, no fluff. If you live in navy and orange, hit subscribe and tap the bell now, because today's update ties months of quiet conversations to a move that hits the heartbeat of the offense. The Bears are bringing in Ronnie Stanley to lock down the blind side, and from the first rep you'll feel the offense exhale. Fewer jailbreak edges, a calmer pocket at 9.5 yards, and a run game that moves the line of scrimmage on purpose, not hope. Stay with me, because you'll get the full arc from first spark to green light. Why this profile kept surviving every round of internal debate. What it looks like on third and medium, low red, and 4-minute. What this means for rolls across the line, the risks and the ramp, and the calendar you can actually track. This isn't a stray headline trying to invent a story. This is the story that explains why the headline makes football sense. Roll the tape back to the week after last season ended. In those long self-scout nights, the staff kept circling the same frames. 3rd and 7 in bad weather, edge pressure hot off the quarterback's back shoulder, the hitch that turns into a scramble because the left side widens just enough to erase the climb lane. On the board, the sentence never changed. Protect the spot from the blind side without help and the offense opens, because the coordinator can call what he believes in instead of living in chips, slides, and tight ends welded to the line. The profile that came out of those meetings was adult and simple, left tackle with patient feet, independent hands, ability to anchor against bull without giving ground, and the calm to sort games when defenses run their tackle end magic. That profile kept pointing to the same name. The book on Ronnie Stanley has always read like a tutorial for how to play the position with your brain and your feet. Vertical sets that stay square, a snatch and trap counter that punishes overeager rushers, a kick that buys time without opening, the gate, and a veteran's eye for when the twist is coming so the guard can pass it clean. The Bears Pro Department labeled it a fit note cycles ago. This offseason turned the note into a plan. The league is small. Front offices talk, the temperature checks that matter happened early, and the answers that came back kept this thread alive. Roll clarity, health ramp clarity, cap lane clarity. The question on Chicago's end never became, is the player good? But rather, does the moment line up with the room, the budget, and the calendar? As spring gave way to summer, the answer moved from maybe to let's set the clock. Camp sharpened the picture. The right side held its own identity. The interior developed a voice. The left side, in the staff's quietest conversations, still felt like the place where one proven adult would let everyone else play faster. You saw it on practice cut-ups that never hit your feed. Third and medium periods where the concept wins, but the pocket breathes hot from the backside, forcing throws off platform. That's where a left tackle who deletes panic earns his money, before the ball leaves the quarterback's hand. By the time the roster tightened and the 53 conversation turned real, football logic and cap math were saying the same thing. Finish the room. Inside the building, the role has been written in plain English. Be the left door the wind can't blow through. Live on an island when the call asks for 5 out. Talk the guard through games so the center's words land once and stick. In the run game, get the stunt and the second step. Right so duo looks like duo, and inside zone gets the dent that turns 2nd and 9 into 2nd and 5. It's not romance. It's the sentences coaches love because they read the same on Tuesday and Sunday. What will you actually see on television the first time he's up? Picture 3rd and 6 at midfield, defense mugging the interior and threatening, a twist to the left. Stanley stays patient in his set, keeps his inside half clean, stabs the looper when the game spins and hands him to the guard without opening the back door. The quarterback feels a pocket he can climb instead of an edge he has to outrun. Ball on time, chains move, drive breathes. Now see low red at the 7, tight surface, play action from a heavy look. The end bites narrow, the backers take a step, downhill, and the tackle's job is to sell run with his pads while staying light enough to hinge and wash the edge past the spot. That extra heartbeat is what turns a glance to the front pylon into 6. Finally, close your eyes on 4-minute. Everybody in the stadium knows the call is run. The front slants, the backer spikes. Late. A left tackle with quiet feet takes the slant on his sternum, refits without panic, and reopens the crease. 8 yards, a timeout burned, a game that feels grown. There's a perimeter layer people forget. When the blind side calms down, the root tree opens. The slot can push his stem without checking back at the snap. The tight end can be a seam threat instead of a permanent bodyguard. The coordinator can live in the formations he wants rather than the ones that hide a sore spot. That's 2 or 3 first downs a game built on nothing more than trust in a spot that used to steal sleep. The line room changes when you add a player who has seen every pressure picture. Practice habits sharpen by themselves. Individual period hand fights get honest because lazy punches get punished. Half-line pass pro runs at real speed because the second step matters again. The guard next to him plays quicker because he isn't, compensating for leakage. The center's calls echo once instead of 3 times. And the right side benefits from a kind of osmosis. When one edge of the pocket refuses to panic, the other tends to match the tone. Money always matters, and this is where the move reads like grown-up front office work rather than fireworks. The contract structure sits in the responsible band for a veteran with pelts on the wall and a clear job description. Year-to-year flexibility lives alongside playtime and postseason triggers. You're paying for availability and impact rather than a poster on a wall. Importantly, the cap oxygen for other rooms remains. This is function, not theater, and it shows up exactly where January is won. Inside the pocket on 3rd down and on the edge of the line when everyone in the building knows you're running, risks exist. Pretending otherwise would be lazy. A ramp is a ramp. Volume climbs have to respect bodies. Soft tissue windows are real if you try to do September in a single week. Protection language takes a minute to become instinct. The staff's mitigation is the plan fans should want to hear. Start with the protection families that matter most. Dose the run game asks by opponent, pair early with a guard who communicates loud and clean, and keep the snap counts where legs. Arrive in the 4th quarter. Nobody's chasing a Thursday headline. Everybody's chasing a 3rd and 7 in December that looks boring on purpose. If you're wondering what this does to the rest of the depth chart, the answer is less than the rumor mill and exactly what the coaches want. A promising young tackle doesn't have to live on an island before he's ready. A swing player can actually be a swing player rather than a permanent patch. The backs become check-down outlets rather than bodyguards because the left edge doesn't cave. The quarterback rediscovers the comfort of stepping up into space, not bodies. That's not narrative, that's geometry. The calendar from here is tight and professional. Travel and medicals, pen and photos, install. Day 1 is language. How Chicago names what he has done his whole career, where the alerts live, which words mean hinge now and which mean pass it. Day 2 builds the 3rd down menu and the 2-man dialogue with the guard so the games hit on the same step. Day 3 layers in the 4-minute calls and the low-red toolkit. The first game you see him, expect clarity rather than volume. The calls he was brought here to execute, not a binder dump. By the 2nd week, expect more formation families. By week 3, it should feel like the offense added a calm button. It can press without huddling. How does this change Sundays in the division? Defensive coordinators who leaned into simulated pressure and tackle end games on the blind side now have to pick a different poison. If they bring heat, the ball leaves on time because the spot is intact. If they bail, the run game dents the edge, and the coordinator can call the same play twice in a row without apology. That is what identity looks like in January weather. Repeatable, boring to watch, brutal to defend. Drop your read in the comments. Would you keep him on an island to free the tight end, or would you use the tight end as a formation stressor and dare teams to win one-on-one? Would you tilt the early rotation to bank wins in September or slow build to peak in December? Your answers shape the film room. We'll run the second the first snaps hit our screen, and we'll show you the footwork, the hand placement, and the way the pocket breathes with a blind-side adult in the room. And as we always do, only here at the end, the disclosure that keeps this community honest. This episode lives inside our rumors and speculation window. We connect internal signals, football logic, and a long memory of how these rooms build to show you why a move like this fits, and how it would actually look if finalized. My personal take is straightforward. A left tackle who calms the blind side, doesn't just erase sacks. He gives the play caller permission to be himself. He lets the quarterback live where the concept says he should, and he turns loud Mondays in November into quiet first downs in January.